Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine and I have a project to share with you today. We are going to be working with this lap loom in order to do some weaving with my 8-year-old daughter. Now this kit comes with more than you actually see here. This was a hand-me-down, but I'm going to use my own supplies for this project. These, however, are the yarns that come with this project. You can find them in different color ranges and they're super beautiful. I'm going to set those aside and use this yarn in order to set up our loom. We want to tie it off on the lower left side, and then we're going to string it up around each of these pegs. So we're going to go around and then back down again. We're going to grab that little peg and then we're going to go back and forth throughout the whole loom. Now this is the part that I am setting up for my daughter. She is 8. If your child wanted to do this part of the process, it probably would need a little bit of adult supervision, but I'm going to go ahead and set everything up and even start weaving, and then I'm going to hand it off to my daughter. So you also want to tie off the very last piece right here, and you want to make sure that your string is pretty taut, not too tight, but you don't want it too loose either. We're going to be using our own yarn for this project. We dyed these with natural dyes, including turmeric and tea. And I'm going to first wrap it up into a ball. Now this worked out great for the first one, but you're going to see that it ended up not being useful for the rest of the project, and you'll see why in a little bit. But it's best to wind your yarn up into a ball so that you can avoid knots, which we did run into a little bit. However, we're using such small amounts that it wasn't too big of a big deal. All right, so next we want to wind this up onto the shuttle that comes with the kit, and then we can begin. The first thing I'm going to do is tie off the yarn at the bottom of the loom. Now you don't have to do this, but when you're first starting out, it's really easy for that yarn just to slip right through. Next, we're going to take this piece and go over and under for each of those pieces of yarn, or the string rather. And I made a mistake, so I'm going to pull it back out and do it again. You want to make sure that you do this accurately, especially the first time around. If you don't, you're going to end up with some mistakes throughout your weaving, and you'll be able to see a few of those at the end once my daughter takes over. Next, we're going to pull our yarn through gently, and then we want to bring it all the way down next to those pegs. All right, so now it's time to send our shuttle through again, but we want to change our over and under pattern. So I'm going to add a ruler in here. This is just a little hack that I'm doing. I'm going to slide it all the way up to the top. I'm going to pull out this piece of wood, and then I'm going to go back over and under, alternating each time. It's really important that you alternate each time, otherwise you're not going to be weaving at all. We're going to send our shuttle through again, and then we're going to bring all of that yarn all the way down. You don't want to pull too tightly, especially as you work up your project. I'm going to show you what happens when you do pull too tightly, so you want to kind of keep it snug but not tight. So I'm going to go ahead and do this a few more times. I'm also going to work with the pattern a little bit before I hand it off to my daughter. I was a little bit concerned with the pattern that I chose, as well as the weaving itself. I wasn't sure if she was going to be able to do this on her own. She ends up doing fabulously, and I think that your children will too. So I'm going to start with another color at this point, and I want to show you how we can weave multiple colors throughout one project. So I did not roll that one into a ball. I just kept it in that long skein that I had. And if you could see the little bit of yarn off to the left there, I did not tie it off. I just left it there. Sometimes you might pull it all the way through, so you have to be careful. But once your project gets going, it's less likely that you will pull it all the way through. But you do want to be mindful if you're not tying off your loose pieces, which I think looks really beautiful in the end. You just want to make sure that you're not pulling it through too much. So once I did about 3 rows of the yellow, I went back to the tan color, which was still on the shuttle. And then after a couple of rows of that color, I went to this really light kind of straw color or wheat color. And again, these were all hand dyed with natural materials like onion skins and turmeric and tea. So they're very pale and they're really beautiful, except for the yellow, which is really bright, which will stand out in this whole project. Now that I have a few rows complete and the pattern, I'm going to hand it over to my daughter and teach her how to do the weaving. You can just use your fingers and do it like all with your fingers this way. Okay, very good. So after this, what do you do?
This color.
Show me over here. Excellent. Okay, so we have to remove this one.
Get out?
Yep.
We did all that hard work. How would we just go up?
No, pull it out. Okay, then we're going to put this one through. Now, where do we start that new piece of yarn? Okay, well, we just finished on this side, so it's got to connect with this side, right? Good.
Got it.
Okay, keep pulling it all the way through. Oh, wait, hold on. This is kind of a knot. Careful. Okay. Okay, to about, that's good.
So now I do it again?
Yeah, so now you close this down.
Do this?
Yep. So we're going to be doing it 3 times every time. Do you know what I mean?
This stayed up, so this will go below.
Very good.
No, this.
You were correct.
Up.
You were correct.
Below.
What's the last one? It went over? Okay, so now you want to go under. Hold on. Pretend this is your yarn.
Under.
Good, it wants to go under.
I did this.
Oh, wait, okay, yeah. Keep going, but don't pull it all the way through.
I know, I don't. I did that because I'm going to stop here.
Uh-huh.
But now, look.
Oh, wait. Oh, I know what happened. Hold on. Wait. Don't put it through yet. I know what happened. No. Take out this piece. You forgot to take out this piece.
No, I just did this.
Oh, that's right. You just did it. Now you got to take it out. Very good. And pull this one down.
But how does that do anything?
Well, let's see what it does.
But I don't understand how that does anything.
But you were doing just fine a few minutes ago. I think you just suddenly forgot what you were doing.
No, wait. How did that stay there now?
Yeah, because you have to alternate. Just don't pull this one too tight, sweetheart. Don't pull this one too tight, okay?
But I don't understand how that really did it.
Well, let's try it again. Let's put this one down, move it to the back, and then start on this one. So what was the last one that you did? Okay, so we're pretending like this is your yarn. So what did the... Yes, you are. Excellent. So now it's time to finish off the project. You can see how lovely my daughter did, but you can also see some of the challenges that we had working on a loom like this, where it's kind of tight in the middle. It's nice and wide at the bottom, and then it goes inward. And then at the top, there's a little bit of unevenness. So I'm going to try to fix this for her. And this part's going to be a little bit challenging, so I'm definitely going to do this. If your child can do this on his or her own, that's great. But I'm going to use a long needle that has an eye that's almost large enough for this yarn. It was a little bit challenging to get that through, but now I'm going to use the yarn, or rather the needle, in order to go over and under, rather than using the wooden tool that came with this kit. So I'm going to start doing that, and at first it's going to be pretty easy to pull this yarn through, but as you get closer and closer to the top, it's going to get really tight and difficult. And that's why I chose to do this for her. Now I'm going to go through the other side, and I'm going to do the same weaving technique. It's just that I'm going to use a needle this time, because you can see there isn't enough room up there to send the shuttle or to place that wooden tool. At the very end, I'm going to start to take the project off the loom. I'm also going to have my daughter here work on that. It was a little bit challenging using the needle to pop the string off of the pegs, and then we found that we could just use our hands, so she's going to do that. This part is super satisfying. The other end comes off really easily, but you can also see now that there's quite a bit of extra string at the top and the bottom. And we just want to even out our project a little bit. Really love the way it turned out. Loved using all of our natural yarns. Now I'm just going to pull now and then around the project just to kind of even it out and get that yarn up to the very top. That's why you want to make sure that it's nice and tight and snug the whole time you're doing this project, so that at the end you have a little bit of wiggle room. All right, so I'm going to leave all those extra bits kind of hanging off the edge, but you can trim them down. Just don't trim them too much. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed this project. If you want to see some other projects in this unit study, you can tap on the screen. Don't forget to check out the blog post that accompanies this video. You can find that link down in the description box below. And if you want to see what our homeschool looks like on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.